Hey everyone, it's Rob Foglia and Jessica Klein with Foglia Properties at Keller Williams here in Nashville, and we're coming to you live today to do the hashtag Ask Realtor Rob questions. As a reminder, we like to do these about once a month or so. So if you have any questions that we didn't get to today or that maybe you forgot to ask, by all means, either comment on this video, any of our posts, just use that hashtag Ask Realtor Rob, and we will answer them. You can also always message us privately. We're happy to answer them as well. But are you ready to jump in and get started?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have three really good questions today, and they're all very different. So please stay tuned for all three of them. They may just be applicable to your situation. So let's go ahead and dive in with our first question. Okay. So I've heard a lot about real estate investing, and I'm interested in giving it a try. Where should I start?
It's a great question, and it's a very broad question. So I hope I don't ramble too much on it because it's going to depend on what somebody wants and really what their long term goals are. That's probably the best place to start and to identify exactly what they want out of real estate investing. So some people hear real estate investing and they think like those HGTV shows where they flip a house and they make a quick buck. And that when I say real estate investing, that's not what I'm talking about because that's not my long-term goals. So some people that is their long-term goals though, and there's no judgment either way. Like some people want to get that initial paycheck basically, but just know if you do that, you're kind of creating a job for yourself. You're not necessarily creating long-term wealth. Most that are thinking about investments, whether it's the stock market or real estate or anything else, they're doing so to create long-term wealth, to create a retirement nest egg, or create something along those lines. And so that's the first place I would start, and that's identify what your long-term goals are. If it does have something to do with passive income, because a lot of people have that desire, they want to see. I mean, who knows? It could be they want to offset their personal expenses, or they want to have a certain amount of passive income coming in every month. Identifying that and then working backwards is key. And so if you're not sure what I mean by that, you can reach out to me directly. I'm happy to kind of talk you through your specific situation, maybe even point out some resources that are out there, some books that I'd recommend. That's probably the other place that I would start too. It would be education. um, Great books that I know helped me big time on the journey and still helped me. Rich Dad Poor Dad was a huge one for me. There's a book, I think I've got it right here, but yeah, The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. It's a great book written by Gary Keller. A book called Hold as well has a lot of great tips in there about buying and hold rental properties, long-term real estate investments. There are other ones too. That's where I would start.
Okay, so know your long-term goals, get education, and then I would just add when you're ready to take any substantial or concrete steps, just give us a call and we'll let you know what the next steps are.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I can't emphasize enough though that first step. Know why you want to do this and what your long-term goals are. Like
Yes.
Jessica and I, we oftentimes will, and not just us, but others in the industry too, will kind of as almost an inside joke that when an investor reaches out and they're not quite sure, they're not a true investor, they reach out and they go, well, if we ask them, what are you looking for? They go, what?
A
What is it?
good deal. I want
A
a good
good deal.
deal.
Yeah, who doesn't want a good deal? Of course, they
Yep.
want a good deal. And yet, to me, a true investor, whether it's a professional investor that's all they do for a living, or it's somebody who just has their ducks in a row and knows what they has that clarity on their goals, they're able to say, "Well, I'm looking for a rental property that's a 3-bed, 2-bath in this city that will have this much cash flow coming in," or something like that. They'll be able
Hmm.
to give a little bit of specifics that really goes a long way. So,
Yeah, and that really allows any professional to help them better.
yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to question number two, if you are ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we keep seeing houses we love, but we need to sell before we buy. We don't want to be homeless. How can we do both?
Don't want to be homeless. That is
Yeah.
something that you hear a lot in this market, surprisingly, or it's some variation of it. So meaning like somebody doesn't want to be homeless. They don't want temporary housing. They don't want to have to move twice, whatever the case might be. And if they keep seeing houses that they love and they don't want to be homeless, again, first step is to reach out to us so we can initiate the process. There's a few things that we can do. We have some tools in our toolbox that other agents don't have, whether it be like a cash offer program or a home swap program that might be applicable to you. But even just going old school, like what we've done for a lot of our clients in the past, is just simply just arrange the details that make it line up for you. Typically, the first step, if you need to sell in order to buy, is to do that, is to sell. Now, it doesn't mean if you're selling your home today and we have an offer today that you have to be out in 30 days. We can negotiate a longer closing. In this market, we can even negotiate things like a rent back, where you own the you don't own the property, close the property, but excuse me, but you rent the property back from the new owners for a determined amount of time. Maybe it's 30 days extra, 60 days extra. That gives you time to not only close on your next place, but to get moved in as well. And so there are a lot of different ways we can kind of solve that equation. We just have to know what we're working with. And sometimes we can even get you approved to buy your next home before we sell your current home, if you're comfortable with that. If you can get approved for both mortgages, if you have a down payment for that next mortgage as well. There are a lot of solutions. We just have to start the process. And really, if you're seeing these homes and they're selling and you're worried about being homeless, step one is to reach out to us so we can see what options we have that'll solve this problem for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that first conversation with us, that consultation is really just us identifying the dominoes in your situation. And then we, the professionals, can look at it and say, okay, let's start with this one. And that'll knock everything else down in the order that's best for you. I love that.
Absolutely.
All right, question number 3, our final question. My neighbor just sold their house for way more than I thought they would. What does that mean for my property value?
Oh, great question. So more than I thought they would. That can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So now I will say that that's happening a lot. In fact, it's funny. I don't think it was the person who asked this question, and yet I got a variation of that yesterday. I had a friend that I was talking to, and he was saying that a home in his neighborhood, same layout of his, had just sold for $700,000, and he's like, I bought this home for I can't remember what he said now, but it was 3 or 4 years ago for this price, and the reality is, it depending on what the finishes difference is. If one's been renovated, one hasn't. I mean, your home could be worth that price. It very well could be. If not, it's probably worth very, very close to it. We've seen over the last year home values go up about 20 to 25%. So if it's been a minute since you've had, either myself, like talk to me about this, or talk to any professional about what your home is actually worth in today's market, that's start there. Reach out, so that way we can at least give you that information. Just because you reach out doesn't mean that we think you're going to sell your home tomorrow. Like, obviously we'd be happy to help you if you want to do that, and yet that doesn't mean you have to move tomorrow if you reach out. Getting that information a lot of times can be the first step into making a smart financial decision for you. You might decide maybe it makes sense to do some sort of cash out refinance, or to do some sort of home equity line of credit to do something to your home, or to help your family with certain debts that you have. Like, there's so many different variables in that. However, to stop being long-winded and to get back to the initial question, when homes are selling for more than you ever thought they would, it's only going to help the value of your property in your neighborhood. However, how specifically that affects is going to depend on the neighborhood, depending on the home, depending on the finishes. And that's when you reach out to us. We can kind of answer that question in more detail.
I love that. And actually, now that we're talking about this, I mean, I had a similar question to that earlier this year. When we moved in a year ago, there were 2 vacant houses next to us, and one is the same floor plan, one is very different. And they've both sold for more than we thought. And so what did I do? I came to you and I said, hey, let's run a quick, CMA, comparable market analysis. And so we found out what my home was worth, and it was just so that I could do some calculations and keep track of my net worth. And I have no intention of selling, but I walked away with some great information. And I know I intend to do that about every year. You and Kelly do that about every year. And even if it's just as simple as that, we're happy to help with that. It's simple and it's helpful to you for sure.
Exactly. And yeah, you're right. I mean, I tend to pull the value of not only our primary residence, but our investment properties as well on a relatively regular basis, just for information purposes.
Mhm.
And now we're in the business, so I can do that easily for my properties. If you're not in the business, you don't know how to do that. That's what we're here for. And again, we're happy to pull that information and get you that information, even if it's just a kind of a general CMA. It doesn't have to be a full on,
Like
full
exactly the price.
conversation. Like, happy to
Yeah.
just get you that information.
Yeah.
The other thing that it might do for some that are out there, depending on how much money you put down, depending on how much the value of your home has gone up, because since it has gone up roughly 20, 25%, depending on the neighborhood, depending on price point, but that's a very general range for what we've seen home values do over the last 12 months. You might be in a position where you can get out of your PMI, your mortgage insurance. And that's a huge difference maker for a lot of people. Depending on the person, depending on the type of loan, that could be a couple $100 a month. And
Yeah.
it could be as simple, depending on the type of loan you have, it could be as simple as literally calling your mortgage company and saying, hey, we think we have, more than a 20% equitable stake in the property. We're ready to get out of this PMI and start that conversation with them. You might need to
Yeah.
refinance, but if you're going to be there for a while, it would make sense.
Absolutely. Well, this was very helpful. I think this was a great conversation today. And if listening to this video sparked any questions for anyone, please drop them below. We have Facebook posts going out that routinely answer these questions. We're going to keep doing these live videos monthly. And really just anytime, even if you don't want them answered on social media, please ask your questions. We're happy to answer them for you. That's what we're here for.
Exactly. We're always going to respect confidentiality. We're always going to respect your privacy. I mean, even like the example I gave of that friend, didn't give a friend's name, didn't even give the city name. So, we're not going to obviously violate any of that type of confidentiality that's out there. We're here to help. We want to provide you the information that you're looking for to make the best financial decisions you can for your family and truly be your trusted real estate economists. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, everybody. As usual, reach out to us in the normal ways. Rob, you want to, you're the expert on those.
I'm
so
closing it
how
out.
can
Sure.
people
Well,
get a
yeah, if
hold
y'all
of
need
us?
anything, give us a shout. You can comment on this if you're seeing it live, if you're seeing it on recording on Facebook or YouTube. You can PM us as well, obviously through Facebook. You can call us 615-591-5665. Or if you got this through email, just hit that reply button with any questions. We're happy to answer them.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right. Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Bye.